What's the dog's name again?
It's called Milo.
Milo. I thought.
There he is.
Hey, that was really bizarre.
Wasn't it?
Just the head just materialised through your backdrop. That was
Through the
really
beard.
strange.
Hello, matey. You alright? He's been asleep. Oh, thank you. This is Tim.
Hey up, little fella.
You say hello? He's been sleeping, haven't you? Hey? Cheeky
I
doggy.
always do that. Like I'm expecting it to wave back.
He can wait. Oh, he's yawning at you, bad area.
Hey.
Oh. So, yeah, you alright? You coming up for a cuddle? Do you want to go out?
Greetings, folks. Welcome to another edition of After Hours. Tonight, back in the virtual pub, a stranger to nobody, me old matey, Mr. David Green. How are you doing, sir?
Good, I'm good. I should say I was not due to be on this tonight. I am your backup plan. If
Yes,
anyone ever cancels or anything comes up, I just appear. So
yeah.
if you don't
Like
want to
rubbing
see
a
me,
lamp, you know.
yeah.
Yeah.
Give it a good rub and I'll
In a
appear.
good rub, David Green will appear.
Yep, that's
Now
true.
that's a horror story in itself,
That
isn't
is a
it?
horror story. It's
Yeah,
terrifying.
yeah.
Yeah, that's me. I'm the second choice.
You're not the second choice.
I
I
wasn't
posted
even.
up saying I've had a cancellation. 5 minutes later, you're
Yeah.
like, oh, there is.
I'm not nothing to do. I'll come on and have a drink with you, and we can have a chat
Well,
or have a drink.
this is what I was saying, isn't it? They're like, this is my social life.
Yeah,
That's why I was loath to give it the slot up. It
yeah,
was just
exactly.
like, come
I'm
on.
always say what I'm always loath to give a slot up.
Yes. Oh God, I
You can
can see
see,
where
you
this
see
is
it.
going to go tonight. Christ.
You can see I wasn't prepared because I've not shaved my hair. So like my actual, when people think that I'm ginger, this is my actual hair color. It's black.
Yeah. It's really
So
funny because you're like the opposite way up to me. Because my natural hair color is ginger, but
yeah,
my facial hair isn't. So yeah,
yeah, we're half breeds.
yeah.
We're half breed day walkers, as South Park would have said. And about the ginger people, he used to call them day walkers. Do you know that? Did you
Yeah,
see that South Park? Oh, yeah.
I think
They used to
so.
call them
I
day
was trying
walkers.
to remember. Uh,
I had a beard when I was a bit younger. I had a beard then because I only grew this. I grew this just after my son was born. Um,
you
I was
did
clean
that thing that
shaven.
most blokes do. You grew it when that went, didn't you?
Yeah. Pretty well. I kind of
Yeah,
left. No, I was like I looked like Hitman, Agent 47 for a while. I was just like a thing with glasses, and
right.
I was like, really is too much face. So I had like a bit of stubble and what have you. But then I was like, I'm just going to grow the beard. 'Cause it's definitely too much face. Like I need something to kind of offset the face and the baldness and everything.
Yeah,
But when I was younger, I had like long hair. My hair was a little bit kind of curly, enough like down to my shoulders,
yeah.
and I grew a beard for a little while as well at the same time. I remember going into this shop in Salford, and I had a hat on, so you couldn't see my hair, so you see my beard. So just like I was ginger, I had no white in it. Then it was just ginger. And the guy at the counter buying beer was like just talking to the guy about gingers, and he was ginger, and he was like, and about how they're oppressed and all this kind of stuff. And I walked in, and he was like, look, another one of us, like you can,
Brother,
yeah, pretty much. And then like,
gonna
um,
get old Citizen Smith.
yeah, but then like when I got a bit closer to them, he saw like I stood there, the guy was still chatting, and I was just like listening, laughing, and he saw my hair underneath, and he was like, "Oh no, you're a half breed." I was like, "Yeah, I'm a half breed. I'm
Half
Irish.
breed.
My Irishness comes out in my blood, in my blood. Of course, it comes out in my blood. It also comes out in my beard."
Yeah.
So
Well, that's the thing with me. The old Scottish that comes out.
yes,
You
yeah.
know? Yeah. So, well, looking behind you, got this very attractive old buck here coming out behind you in Solitude's shadow.
This is so weird. How do my finger's gone? Oh, it's got to get.
That
It's
is
there.
really weird.
What weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. Solitude Shadow. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was.
I actually read the prologue because it was in your newsletter.
It was.
Very nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, very nice indeed. Yeah.
Thank you. That was one of the last things that I wrote for it,
Well, the prologue.
actually. Yeah,
It's funnily enough, that's like always been the case with me. The prologue has always been the last thing I've written. I
yeah.
wonder how often that happens. You know.
I reckon it's either the first thing people write because it's a prologue, or it's the last thing. I don't think it's ever any
Yeah.
point where people like midway through they might get an idea for it and jot it down, but they never go like, I'll go back and write this immediately. Because sometimes, like I think you can tell like if it's the last thing because it really kind of ties in with the rest of the story
Yes. Yeah.
in ways, even though it might be like a different time kind of time setting, or like mine is for this one, as you have read. It's set quite a way before the start of this story, but it does link into it. Whereas like my favourite series, sorry, my dog was just walking around. My favourite series, The Wheel of Time, the prologue doesn't make any sense until like the third or fourth book in the series. So it was obviously, I think it was something that he just wanted to do, and he's like, I'm just going to stick it as the prologue. And if they stick with it, they'll figure it out.
Well, this is probably my problem with Wheel of Time because I did actually attempt to read the first book, and I like I said, I'm not a massive fantasy reader anyway, and it was when I was working at a pub up in the Midlands, and my sous chef, his name was Alex, but I called him Dylan because he reminded me of the hippie rabbit from the Magic Roundabout.
Nice.
And but he was a massive reader, and he had the Wheel of Time thing in like sitting on top of the washing machine in the staff room. And
Yeah,
he was one of them guys that every time like we didn't have a ticket on or whatever, he'd disappear, and I'd find him with his fucking book. You know, that was his deal.
Yeah.
And I really finished it, and he was waffling on about it with one of the waitresses. I said, "Oh, it's great, blah blah," and I picked it up, and I was just like, "This is fucking impenetrable." Like, I think at the time I was reading comics or something. Just,
right.
you know.
Yeah, the prologue, like even now, because obviously I have this Wheel of Time podcast that we do as well, and
Yes, yeah, promote it,
we're
man. What's it
reading
called
through
again?
Easing the Reader, which
Easing. I thought it was briefing.
no, not briefing, no.
Easing
Briefing
the
the reader.
reader. That's a
These,
bit.
these are the points that we need to brief you on about this. No, it's a bit intense, that, isn't it? Briefing the reader. Yeah, easing the reader. Now, there is a bit of an innuendo. I like it. Yeah. Because it's there's in the second book, there's a pub called Easing the Badger. It's just like.
I've just got Kenneth Williams' face in my head going,
Matron, take them away.
easing the badger. That sounds like a euphemism.
Yeah, it is. So,
well, Billy Connolly's thing about or cunnilingus. You call it, like Glaswegians call it, growling at the badger.
Yes.
Yeah.
So when we decided to do it, because basically what it is like the other guy doing it, Holtman, has not read it, and I've read it 20 odd times, I think, at this stage now.
Has Holtman not actually read it?
No, he read the first book as part of his studies when he was a teenager in Sweden when he was doing literature, and he's never read it since. So he's reading it through now, and so we're reading it through and discussing what's happening and like kind of looking at it from a writing point of view and other things like that. So that's why I was thinking like easing the reader. Yeah. So I thought easing the reader is a great play on it because like we're easing them into it, but also it's named after the pub, and also it's a great. We had a few people like when it first found us and were like, not sure we want to be eased by you in that kind of way. It's like, well, you never know. You might want to when you get to know us. Yeah, but we were when I was reading, because I read it loads of times, like I read it lots of times, and I like the prologue because I understand it, but I was like, because like I've read the rest of the series, but when I was like reading it through Chris's eyes, I was just kind of thinking, this is just like, but if you just pick this up first off, you'd be like, whoa, because like there's a massive big tonal shift when it gets to the first chapter as well, and it's like,
well, this is my point. It's like I literally picked it up off the washing machine because I think I was I think I just finished rereading Helter Skelter, because I read a lot of true crime. I think I just finished rereading Helter Skelter because they'd reissued it with like a bunch of like new transcripts and all that kind of stuff in it. So I get from reading about Charles Manson and the death of the 1960s. And I just finished, and he just finished that.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Oh, it's great, give it a go." And I picked it up, and I was just like, and I honestly got I made it about halfway, and I was just like, this, I don't think I'm clever enough to read this. Do you know what I mean? It is a book that made me feel stupid because I was just like, I've obviously turned over 2 pages at once or something. I'm missing something here.
The first book is kind of, I didn't realize how it was. The first book was after I read the series the first time. Well, when I first picked it up, there was only 10 of them out. The 11th one wasn't out yet. So like, obviously, when I read it the first time, I read up to number 10, and it hadn't finished or anything. But I just kept on going back and rereading it and everything, because it is a series that really rewards rereading. There's loads of really great, like from a writing perspective. There's amazing foreshadowing in it, and it gets better as he goes on as well. But I never realised how rough the first book was until this time when I was reading through. This is like the 21st time that I've read it. But so I think it's because the first time I've read it since I've really been like writing non-stop for a year myself, and like kind of reading books about writing and kind of looking at other people's stuff. And it's like, it was published in 1990, but he started writing it in 1984. So it's of that. It's of that thing. So there's loads of stuff in it that people don't do anymore, and people do not do this anymore. So there's like massive exposition dumps. There's massive bits.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was something I struggled with when I first started writing, is the fact that I was writing in a very old way.
Yeah.
That's why I've got to go back that novel I wrote when I first started writing. That's why I've got to go back and muck about with it, because I did it. I basically, the beginning of it is basically like exposition. It's just like, and all this, and there's loads of purple bits about the hills and all this kind of stuff. But basically, I just come from like writing, like reading like Lovecraft and Smith, Blackwood and Machen and all these guys. Like all these guys are like dead before the 50s.
Well, before the 50s. But that's the thing with this one as well. It's funny because like after the prologue, like basically each chapter is like, and there's a new character, and it's like each chapter is like a new character coming into it and coming into it, and then it's like each character then is like, let me tell you a story about something that's going on, and it's like, what page of text of like, it's like, and then this happened 2,000 years ago, and then this, right?
Well, like, that's what got to me, and because of the way I was reading at that time, it was literally like in the staff room having a smoke between tickets. So I was going back, having a smoke, light a fag up, read a couple of pages, and it just wasn't sinking in.
So like the second book, which is funny because the second book came out within 6 months of the first one, but he'd obviously had them both written before the first one come out.
Right.
But even then, like, he handles all that kind of stuff in a much better way. The second book is like one of the best ones in the series, and like the whole kind of organic storytelling is much better. Whereas like in the first book, you would have these bits where it would literally be someone would sit down in front of someone else and go, I'm going to tell you how this works. I'm going to tell you the magic system of this series. And it's just pages of this person saying, blah, 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 blah. But in the second book, like it's more showing and not telling, and it's like a big difference in it. I could see it this time. But it'll be interesting because obviously there's going to be a lot of new people reading it this year because the TV show is out on Amazon Prime.
Oh,
it should have been out. It should have been out at Christmas, but obviously with COVID and everything, so it's.
I just hope they don't do a Shannara with that.
Yeah, well,
did you ever watch the Shannara TV show?
Yeah, but it's like it's MTV.
God, that was bad.
It was MTV doing it, wasn't it? But like this is the production budget like for this is the spending, and this is the first season. They're spending the same amount of money that they were spending on the last season of Game of Thrones on the first, as they are in the first season on this one. Like it's big budget, and they've got like Rosamund Pike in it, and like
nice. I like her. She's cool.
Yeah, so they've gone like, I think it's gonna be like Amazon. Most of their original stuff is pretty decent.
Is it Prime? Right.
Yeah. So
Yeah, no, their original stuff is pretty good. There's actually
yeah,
more of a quality control there than there is with
the
Netflix.
Netflix. Yeah.
There's
They're very
every now and then some right duffers slip through
Oh
Netflix.
yeah, definitely, yeah. But yeah, so that's because that's how I think it's going to be out this November. I think it is. So there's going to be a lot of new people coming in to read it, and I think it'll be like I remember it's the same thing as what happened when Lord of the Rings the films came out and people picked up Lord of the Rings for the first time, and it's like this was written in the 50s.
Yeah,
It's
see,
like,
I'd already read them, so I
yeah,
knew what I was getting. But my partner at the time hadn't. I
yeah,
watched the films. I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna buy it." I bought
yeah,
the complete edition, which had all three in this huge, ridiculously.
yeah.
It was like a phone book, right?
Yeah. I've got it. I've got it. I've read it.
Just flicking through it, and this is like, when is it gonna start?
Yeah, it's like
About halfway through.
yeah. But it's funny though. There's the head wrecking thing about it, right? So, Wheel of Time TV shows in about 2021. The first book was 1990, so it's a 31-year difference, right? That's not that big of a difference from when The Return of the King came out to when the movies of The Lord of the Rings came out. Even though that came out in the 50s, it was only, I think Return of the King came out in 56. So it was only 37 years, right?
Yeah.
So it's not, but it feels like it was like this.
Yeah, it
But,
does. It's because I think it's because I mean there was so many seismic cultural shifts
yeah.
between the 50s, 60s, and now.
Yeah, and
I mean,
now,
it's almost like Britain. It's just like it's
yeah,
so different
yeah, it
than
is,
what it
yeah.
was then.
Well, and it's funny
You're
because
looking at post-war, aren't you?
I know. Look, I was in university at the time when the Lord of the Rings movies come out. I'd been reading them for years. Like I still have my first copy of The Hobbit, and I had my name written in it when I read it. And I was age 7. Right, I have my age on there. That's my address.
I got my dad's copy of The Hobbit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. Well, like you know, when you were a kid, when you used to write your address and you wouldn't stop at England, you'd keep going, and be like Europe, the world, Milky Way. So that's all that. And then I've got my first copy of the Lord of the Rings that I got, which when I was about 9, and I've been reading them since then. Like, so I was like 16 or 17. Also, I was in college, sorry, when they came out. So I was 16 or 17 when the movies come out. So I knew. So I was laughing at all these people in college that were picking up for the first time, and I was like, "It's all this poetry. What's all these songs? Who's this Tom Bombadil fella?"
They should have really fucked them up and given them a copy of the Silmarillion.
Oh man, yeah. So this is how the universe was created. A bunch of gods started to sing at each other, and then the funniest thing about The Lord of the Rings though is the bit where like there's just one random bit where it just switches like it just turns into a wandering POV for like one line. And it's right near the start. Well, say near the start. It's probably like 100 pages in, but it's when the hobbits are all.
It just feels like the start.
Yeah, you know that big convoluted plan in the book. So like in the movies, like Gandalf buggers off and then comes back and he's like, "Is it safe?" And all this, and then Frodo runs away like with Sam and bumps into Merry and Pippin, and they're off. But in the books, like Gandalf goes away for about 30 years, right?
Yeah.
And the life goes on, and then he comes back.
Well, he starts off as Gandalf the Green as well, doesn't he? So.
Yeah, so he comes back. He basically goes off to find out. Like he's got suspicions about this ring, so he goes off. But it's about 30 years that he's away for, right? And because Frodo's like 60 odd by the time he sets off in the book, right, which is young enough for a hobbit, I suppose. But then he comes back and he's like, "Oh, people are going to be looking for this ring. It's serious stuff." And he's like, "We need to get a plan to get out of the Shire so no one knows." So instead of just leaving, he sells Bag End, buys a house on the edge of the Shire. They all start moving house for a little while.
There is a lot of that, isn't there?
Yeah. There's a little bit like midway, like during this sequence when they're making this journey to Crick Hollow, which is where this new house is, and like they're toddling along doing the Hobbit things, and then all of a sudden it just shifts POV to a fox, and the fox is like, "4 hobbits out on the road, how queer." And then it says, He wondered about them, but he never found out. Like, this is this is
I
crazy.
don't remember that, but
Yeah,
why would I? I mean, it was so
yeah,
like
yeah.
long ago when I read them. But oh, that's brilliant.
But, yeah, I love it. And it's just that one instance. It's just like, why not? I suppose. Like, why not do it? And then it's like there's a poem. And they
The
see some
mushrooms he had
smell.
for breakfast that morning
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
were
yeah.
slightly unusual.
Yes. Yeah. But the
I'm a
funny thing is,
fox.
like, the way that he wrote, he would like literally sit at his typewriter, write to a point where he kind of think this is crap, or he couldn't think of the
Mm.
next thing, and he'd get rid of it all and start from it
Yeah, we
again.
spoke about this before, didn't you? I
Yeah.
still can't wrap my head around
And he'd be like, whatever he remembered was good. He'd keep going from, and then he'd get to a point and stop it, and like he'd be like, well, I like this bit go on. But the fox bit survived.
Of
How
all the
many
stuff
times?
that ended on the fire, the
Yeah.
fox remained.
And he was writing this for a long
Maybe it
time
was
as
his spirit
well.
animal.
Yeah. Maybe, who knows? And he was writing it. He was writing this for nearly 20 years. So how many times did he write the fox sequence? And each time he was like, "Love the fox
Staying.
sequence."
Yeah.
It
What hobbits?
went to his editor, and they were like, "We're not sure about the fox bit." And he's like, "You can get rid of anything
Staying.
else. The fox is staying, right? It's important." It's like, well, okay, fair enough if it's important. But
But
that
I often
reminds me.
wonder that with people like Stephen King, who have a lot of exposition in their work, whether
Yeah,
the editors ever gone, this bit here,
yeah,
is it
yeah, yeah.
necessary?
Yeah. Well, but that happened. You ever seen Snowpiercer?
I've not
The
seen it. I've not
No,
actually
right,
seen it,
okay.
but yeah,
So like,
it's one that's on my list.
yeah, it's really really good. And obviously it was like I'm not going to say his name. 'Cause I don't want to butcher it. But he's obviously a Korean director who did
Yes.
Parasite, and this was his first American movie. And he was doing it with Weinstein, right? And obviously he's famous for many things, is Harvey Weinstein. But one of the ones that we probably safer to talk about was that he was famous
Yes.
for cutting and editing people's movies, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so this director knew about this, and there's a scene where like there's this action scene, and it's in like a bit of the train where people have these fish, and like there's a bit where a fish falls on the floor, and Chris Evans' character in slow motion, like during this big action scene, there's all these people dying, the fighting, steps on the fish, and then just slips up in the air. It's not even like comedy or anything. It's like really like dramatic and just crashes down and all this kind of
Whoa,
stuff. Yeah,
pratfall.
right. But
Yeah.
it's not even that. It's really like it's like the bit in Platoon where like he falls down
Oh,
and
where
throws
it
down.
like the classic.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that. But we're just stepping on this fish, right?
We got stood
And
on a fish.
it's bizarre. It's bizarre. But like,
Nice.
and the director was talking about it, and he was like, and someone said to him, "How did that not get cut out by Weinstein?" And he was like, "Well, he tried to." And I just said to him, "I really want this scene in the film because it's something about my father that means a lot to me, and it's there as a homage to him." And he said, like, Weinstein went quiet for a second and was staring at me, and he was like, "If it's about family, then it can stay." And like the guy was like, "It was just something that made me laugh."
No.
That's
Oh, kudos. Absolute kudos to the guy.
yeah,
Yeah, that's the way
yeah,
to do it, isn't it? Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
It means something to me.
it
You know?
means something to me.
I'm gonna remember that next time somebody wants to take out a ridiculous bit of one of my stories.
Yeah,
You can't have the bit with that tentacle coming out of the dustbin.
it
But it
reminds,
means so
reminds
much
me.
to me.
It reminds me of my mother.
Yeah.
Really? Oh, okay. All right, but
I tell you, I'm gonna hang on to that. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, you're a big fan of all your proper epic fantasy and all that.
yeah,
So, in Solitude's Shadow,
yes,
how does that sort of, because I know it's for a start, it isn't like as big as a phone book.
no, it's not.
So,
It's no phone
for
book.
the viewer, just give them a bit of a sort of rundown of how
Yeah,
it
so
kind of goes.
it's small novel, big novella side. So it's
Yeah,
just under 60,000 words, which is like what
my
kind of area?
favourite size of a novel, to be fair.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah. I mean, it's small for a fantasy, really, but I mean, I suppose like if you the kind of fantasy that I grew up reading, not Lord of the Rings, that was the kind of size book that it
well,
was.
yeah, I mean, sort of the more pulp sort of end of it, like your Robert E. Howards and your Lisbrand de
Yeah,
Camps and all them
David
sort of
Lynch and all
guys.
that kind of stuff. Yeah, with that kind
Fritz
of
Lieber, people like that.
yeah, they were all like 250, 300 page long, and that was kind of
Yeah.
what the call was as well. To be fair, it was
Mhm.
that kind of length. So it's the first of a trilogy, the Empire of Ruin series. So it's gonna be
Which is a very cool
yeah.
name.
That was Michelle that came up with that. Couldn't
Was
think of
it?
a
Ah,
yeah, couldn't think of. But I had the title for ages, like because the title like there's a place called Solitude, which you would have seen in the prologue.
yes, yes.
Um, but like it also to go into the themes of the book. It's solitude shadow is one of the themes of the book. To get all like
Ah,
yes. But so
excellent.
I had the title. I had the title for ages. Michelle suggested it was just called Solitude Shadow at one point, and Michelle suggested the in bit, which was great. In Solitude Shadow was really good.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, it was called the Banished trilogy for a long time, and she suggested Empire of Ruin, which was good because it's
I really like that. I mean, that's got that sort of Steven Erikson-esque feel
yeah.
to it. You know what I mean? It's got that kind of.
Yeah, and it's good as well. It kind of ties into the larger themes of the series, and so yeah, so there's that. So the whole trilogy is
I
going to
love
be
the
out.
fact you always cock an eyebrow when you start talking.
I just think it's so funny. I just think I just hear myself talking about it. I'm just like, I just sound like a wanker.
Just
Talking
unleashing
about
your inner
themes.
Alan Partridge.
Yeah, but I'm talking about themes, deep themes and connections and all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff. But
Well, this is
they
jazz
are in it.
clubs.
Yeah,
Jazz
yeah.
clubs. Yeah.
I mean, they're in it, so I have to kind of talk about it. But like, I just like I feel like a fraud whenever I'm saying it's like this book is themes. But,
Oh, I know exactly. I know exactly what you mean on that. I've had it
yeah,
before.
yeah,
So
yeah.
like, so this, and I'm like trying to wax lyrical about like,
Yeah.
well,
My
there's an
own stuff.
underlying bit of satire, and there's a this and that.
Yeah.
Basically, it's just tentacles.
But yeah, so this is the first. The trilogy is going to be out this year. The second one, I don't know if I can say the title yet. The title for it is in the back of this book. The cover for the next one and the title will be in it. I might just leave it as. I might just announce it.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
day.
yeah, 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 yeah.
I don't know. It's good. I like the title, but I'll speak to Michelle first about it. But I'll tell you privately off air.
Splendid.
And so if anyone wants to know, ask him. And yeah, so it has got it's dark fantasy. It's not grim
I
dark.
take
It's
bribes.
more,
A
you do take
minimum
bribes.
bribe is a half bottle of gin.
Excellent. It's leaning towards grimdark, but it isn't grimdark as such. It's
Now you
dark
see,
fantasy.
I have a trouble with all these made-up genres because, like, I do, but like somebody like because I spend a lot of time like trawling through things like Horror Tree and all that kind of
Yeah,
thing,
yeah.
looking for submissions, and I see these made-up genres, and I have no idea what they mean. It's
Right.
like, explain to me, grimdark. Is it
Okay,
just
so
dark fantasy?
no, so dark fantasy would still have more apparent magical elements, and they
Right,
would still have, although you'd have like anti-heroes and maybe heroes that would be morally conflicted, you would still have people doing heroic things for good
right.
reason, right?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Grimdark is there's less magic in Grimdark generally. There still sometimes would be, but it's less of a focus, and it's more about people that are neither good nor bad. They're just people, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
in fact, most of the people the protagonists are unpleasant people, right?
So would you say like people like Abercrombie and people like that? Who,
Abercrombie is grimdark, yeah.
right, right.
Stephen Erickson would be to an extent.
Yeah.
Um, George R. Martin, kind of, he people would say that
I mean,
he
yeah,
is,
I'd
but
probably say The Witcher is probably.
kind of. But I mean, Witcher is
Yeah.
based on folklore and fairy tales
Yes,
and
it
stuff.
is. Yeah.
That'd be more dark fan. I'd say it would be more dark fantasy. But Joe Abercrombie for sure, he's probably the most famous. But like historically, like the first,
Who's the
I
other
would say
one?
the first grimdark. This
Tchaikovsky
was
is
the,
probably another one.
yeah, he's one. Yeah,
Yeah.
like historically, the first one that I would say would be grimdark, and this was before it was even coined as a term. It would be Stephen Donaldson, who did the Thomas Covenant series because Thomas Covenant.
These are all people that my missus reads.
Yeah,
This is like,
Thomas Covenant is a knob. He's not a nice person, right? And that's one of the things. And the other thing with Grimdark as well, it's a lot more military leaning. So it's usually about grunts in the army or in the military or something. And there's like other things going on that they get drawn into, but it's usually about the ordinary kind of person. So like, this is where with this one, Solitude Shadow, that's where some of the grimdark stuff comes into it, because the people that are in it there is other high-ranking people in it, but most of the people are just normal people in the universe. But there are anti-heroes, and there are those people that are in that shade of grey area. But there is definitely people that are supposed to be good people in it too. And there is there is a magic kind of. The magic is quite central to the story as well. So it's more dark fantasy, and it's very character driven. The main thrust, and I suppose the emotional kind of centre of the story is the relationship between an estranged mother and daughter, and then also an estranged father and son as well. So it's like that's where the solitude aspect comes into it.
I see.
Like it's this kind of
so the solitude works on many levels, because it's personal solitude and the city.
Yeah. Like I hope so, because like it's like these people that are like have these connections with each other, but they're not with each other anymore because of things that have happened in the past, and it's like and it's like kind of so it's a lot of it is about. I suppose it's no surprise there are a lot of parent relationship is in it, because I wrote it not long after becoming a father and like my son getting older, and you kind of think about these things where it's like the decisions that you have to make that you think are the right decisions, but how is that going to impact, and how will they look at that later on in life? You know what I mean? So that's one of the main kind of, because like not to go into any kind of spoilers, but like there's three main characters. There's Colleen and Zana Alpenwood, who are mother and daughter, and they're both POV characters. And there's a guy called Cade Bessam, who is also a POV character. And between Colleen and Zana, there was like something that happened in their past, like a decision that Zana made that she thought was for the best for her daughter, and her daughter has rejected her about it because it's just something that she thinks is wrong, right? And she can't forgive what's happened. So like neither of them, and then like the characters, then like the other characters, they come along. Some of them, like Colleen is like her kind of not best friend, I suppose. Like thinks that her mother was correct, and there's like a little scene where they're talking, and he says like, "Why don't you talk to her or whatever?" And she's like, "I can't ever forgive her, and that's why we never talk about this, because I know you won't understand." So it's like, they have to their friends, but it's like, we're just not going to talk about this thing because we'll never agree about it.
Yeah.
So it's like,
I think everybody like as a like from a son perspective, I think every father and son or mother and son have them kind of conversations at some point in their life.
Yeah.
You talk about it when we're never going to agree on this.
Yes, exactly that. And like, I kind of wanted to do it from. I mean, obviously there is a father and son relationship in it as well, which is a little bit different, and it's like there is. Again, that's pretty spoiler heavy to go into, but like the main emotional one of like the mother and daughter being estranged and this thing that's happened between them being central, and it's central to the plot as well to a way. I really wanted to do that as a mother and daughter, because usually it's father and son.
Yes,
so I wanted to kind of
that is a trope, isn't it? That is a fantasy trope. The father and son sitting there by the fire, kind of. Polishing a sword.
Yes.
Father showing you, why haven't you caught that rabbit, you silly little bastard?
Or like the father doing some like making some decision where they've had to like go into like exile or something.
Yeah.
The son resenting them for years, then going to find them and all this kind of stuff, then realising
that's Shannara right there, isn't it?
Yeah. So I kind of wanted to kind of turn that on its head a little bit.
So yeah, before we move on, so when's Solitude Shadow actually coming out?
June the 4th.
Nice.
Before that, I have a
Well,
novel.
this is where I was going. You see, I was actually going to say before that you've got something else coming out,
I do, yeah, I do.
which is your post-apocalyptic.
Yes, for
Everybody
after.
wants it. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Which we're
yeah,
both a part of.
we're both part of that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like it's a Erie River Publishing doing like an apocalyptic series. It was like an invite only anthology, but then Michelle was like, "Well, because we're all novelettes, we'll release them all separately until the collection comes out as well." So yeah, you can get it for like 99p for the ebook,
which is really cool.
It's really cool, yeah. And there's Derelict that's already out by Trevor Brown, which is really good book.
I've got that to read. I've not got, like I said, my bloody to read pile is ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a really good book. I mean, the good thing about these ones as well is that they're all short reads. So, except for Chris Hewitt's, which got quite big.
Why does that not surprise me?
It's the new you. He loves a big word count these days. But yeah, so they're all like kind of like mine's about 11,000 words, so it's about the same length as the original Dead Man Walking.
Mine's about 15, something like that.
So
like, about the same length as Burning Reflection, pretty much.
Yeah, so they're both like 90-minute reads, or under a 90-minute read. Like so, yeah. But mine is called A Place Beyond the Storm, and it's out on the 14th of May. It got its first review there, and show some out reviews.
I saw that. That's cool.
It was really good.
Yeah.
That was the best review I ever had. Actually,
it's a great review, man. I was like really happy for you because it was just like, it's a belter of a review.
Yeah, it's really good. He said some really nice things about it. It was.
I could just. Was this all on ARC? Well, it has to be on ARCs because it ain't out yet.
Yeah,
I could just imagine mine from the same guy. What the fuck is this guy on? You what?
There was lots of tentacles in this one, and Scottish people. But no, like so that was good. So that's out on the 14th. So Michelle's bringing one of them out every 2 weeks, I think it is.
Yeah, it's every fortnight. It's Trevor's first, then yours, then
Jay
Sandlin's, which is a really cool concept, and I really like that concept. And then it's me, and then I think Hewitt's after me.
Hewitt, yeah. So like, I think there's 8. I think, and then the collection's coming out.
Yeah, it's Joel Hunt, Kim Ray, and Holly Cornetto.
I think she's the last. I think hers is coming.
She is the last, yeah.
So the collection's going to be pretty big when it comes out. I mean,
Yeah, that's actually up on Amazon pre-order.
Yeah.
The main
one, yeah. So that's going to be it. So now, if you, it's available to pre-order. Actually, you can buy it now. Actually, you can buy A Place Beyond the Storm if you go onto godless.com. It's one of the featured books this week, and you can get it early there.
What is Godless? What is it?
It's basically
because I keep getting tagged in it, and I haven't got a clue what it is. It's one of those things that confuses me.
No, it's just a new store basically. They take a lesser cut than Amazon.
All right, okay.
You can bypass Amazon completely and just host it with them, or you can do a shared kind of thing and they take it at the same time.
Oh, interesting.
So it's out. You can either wait to the 14th and get it off Amazon, or you can just go on there now and get it for £1.
Interesting.
So it's one of the featured books there this week. So if you're listening,
there's going to be paperbacks as well, isn't there?
Yeah, there's going to be
standalones.
Yeah, standalones. Yeah.
Are they? I don't know. I haven't actually asked Michelle about this, but are they going to be the?
I'd say they would be. Cause, I mean,
I would have thought so, being as what they are. I would have thought they'd be the sort of pocket, sporran-sized book.
Sporran-sized, yeah, sporran-sized.
Yeah, sporran-sized. I love me sporran-sized books.
You do love it. Yeah,
I
so
do
you can
love
get
it
now. Yeah, you can go onto Godless if you've not pre-ordered it from Amazon and get it off Godless.
Because Harry keeps tagging me in Godless. And I keep
I think he's got shares.
You need to look at that. and I keep like clicking on it, and then it confuses the crap out of me, and I just go, "Ugh, I'll look at that another day."
I think he's got shares in Godless. I think because he's always he
He's
was
spamming it all over the place, isn't he?
Yeah, he was. So that's on there. In Solitude Shadow, you can pre-order. It's available to pre-order now on Amazon. Or if you want a signed copy, you can get in touch with me, and I will sort you out with a signed copy with some little bits of merch that come with it, like a postcard or that kind of thing.
Yeah, well, I want, me. I
You
want
want that
merch.
one, don't you? Yeah. But so I think it's it's so hard for me to even say if it's good or not. But because
that's the stupidest question I was ever asked. I was asked on an interview about Burning Reflection. So, is it any good?
Maybe.
No, it's shit. It's just like, what would you fucking want me to say? That was the stupidest question I've ever.
Anyone asked me that, I'd just be like, I don't know. I don't know.
So what do you want from me? What would you want from me?
Yeah, it's like, who knows? The thing is, though, you ask some people that, and they'll be like, yeah, it's amazing. But that's great if you think it is. Like, I just can't look at my own work like that. But, however, I will say this. I've read it so many times now that with such a critical head on going through it, developing it, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, that was the case with that because it had been through the editing phase and all the rest of it, and it was like I'm pleased with it.
Yeah. I'm happy with it. I'm happy with it. When it was being edited, the editor was putting loads of little notes, and there was one bit.
Yep.
They left me a note, which was
I was actually going to bring this up about Solitude Shadow.
Yeah.
I've heard that you nearly dropped a massive hairy testicle, didn't you, sir? About a name of a town.
Yeah, did. It's funny you say that because that was one of the swear words that was in it. I changed that one. I thought like that what you're gonna do because there's a in-world swearing that I developed, which is like.
Oh yeah. Did any of mine get in there? Because I gave you hundreds.
No, none of yours, unfortunately. I just changed it. I just changed fuck to drock. It had the same kind of sound, and then I had
Judge Dredd.
That's Drac, isn't it?
Drock.
Is it? Oh,
D-R-O-K-K.
Oh no, it's only one K in this one, so it's fine.
Oh, right.
And sorry, it's done now anyway. It's done.
It'll be fine.
And then the other thing, I kind of changed it to kind of sayings, right? And so I had balls of the gods, and then it kind of developed as they kind of got more angry. So it'd be withered balls of the gods, or
nice.
And then the last one was withered, hairy, rotten balls of the gods, right? And Michelle was
manky, wrinkled balls of the gods.
Yeah. And Michelle was like, "There's a lot of balls in this." And I was like, "Yeah, there is, yeah." But I like saying it. But
some of the best editing I ever had was one of my. It was a novelette that came out in an anthology, and the editor obviously didn't like my Britishisms very much.
Yeah.
And he came back and it was just like, right, this has got ridiculous now. You've had man sausage, you've had gentleman's vegetables, you've had meat and two veg.
Yeah,
and it was just like, what? What?
It's fine.
But the point, I was like, this is a Victorian explorer. What do you expect?
Yeah.
He's not going to say my bollocks, is he? He's going to say my gentleman's vegetables are a little bit poxed.
Yeah. I got Michelle's point because she was kind of saying the big market for fantasy is Americans, and strangely it's huge in Mormon circles as well. And she was like, unless you're like George Martin or Joe Abercrombie, you can't get away with horrendous amounts of swearing, especially as a new author. So I was like, yeah, fair enough. I basically just changed balls to teeth. So it's like rotten, got teeth of the gods or that kind of thing.
Well, it's like Hell's Teeth, isn't it?
Yeah. So like that was
Hell's
that was
teeth.
fine. That was fine. Yeah, that was fine. And yeah, so that was that. And yeah, the other thing was the town name. Yeah. Um,
Yeah, I didn't know
so
about this till the other day when he was
yeah,
let
so I,
slip.
wrote- I wrote
This
the,
is
I wrote
great.
the first draft. Yeah, so I wrote the first draft and then did my own kind of like second run through on it, and I had it with my two beta readers, um, one of which is Chris Hewitt, and the other one
Hi,
doesn't
Chris.
read. Yeah, hi Chris. The other one doesn't read fantasy, so I wanted one who wasn't a fantasy reader to read it, and
Yeah.
one who was. Right? So I forgive the other one, right? Um, and
Yeah, you should have spotted this one, Chris. It's a belter.
yeah, so to be fair, it isn't the main town, right? So it's only mentioned a few times. I think 12 times in the whole book it's mentioned actually, and there's like one scene in this town. So where the map is, so the Solitude is like this fortress that is like wedged in between where these mountains called the Peaks of Eternity meet, and they're in like a ring, okay? And then
Yep.
where there's like a mountain pass, this fortress was built there. So it's as like a cork basically, or a wedge.
Cool. Yeah. Yep.
And if you go like 10 miles south, there's a really narrow strip of land with bodies of water on each bit, and it's like a dock town. And it's where the people thought the god was one of the gods was built, right? So there are like these big
Right.
statues and all that kind of stuff. It was basically just a port, as you can get in it from either side and all this kind of stuff. And I just called it. So at the time, like I was kind of thinking, well, it's up in the north, and it's actually not even a snowy place. It's quite a Mediterranean thing. But in my head, I was going to call it Wintertide, just to kind of get this kind of thing that's up north, Wintertide, because of the tide, it's cold, winter,
Yeah.
stuff
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
that. So that was fine. Did it. Sent it through to beta readers, gave me notes and whatever on other things. Got to the point where I was like, I think this is ready to kind of send into Michelle. Sent it into her. She read it really, really fast actually. Like it was funny because she actually was like sending me a message saying, I'm up to this bit in the book and all this, like it's done and whatever. And literally like a few hours later, she was like, can I call you tonight to talk about it? Right? And I was like, wow, like she read it fast, like, and
Well, it's that ominous message, isn't it? Can I talk to you about it?
yeah,
It's one of those, I'll tell you.
yeah. But like she was, so we were on there, we got on it. She's like, yeah, I think it's a great story. There's things we can develop further, and this, and this.
Yeah.
If you want to go with us with it and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, yeah, definitely. And she was like, a couple of things, lots of swearing. I was like, yes, there is, because this was before like the in-world swearing came in. So there was like I think there was even a C word in there at one point.
Which is fine over here, but a no-no in the States.
Yeah.
Which I think confuses the crap out of me, because obviously I have a Scottish family, and they use punctuation up there.
Yeah, and same in Manchester as well, and in Galway.
Yeah. Well, it's a term of endearment in Manchester.
Yeah, it is.
As we both know, say up, you silly.
Yeah, and like my father-in-law. Yeah, my father-in-law says it all the time. He says it around Ollie all the time, which is funny.
I remember you saying.
So she's like, lots of swearing, and we have to change the name of that town because it sounds like it's from Game of Thrones. And I was like, oh yeah, Winterfell.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I was like, and she was like, how did you not notice that? And I was like, I don't know. I was like, the thing is, I sent it to two beta readers and they didn't notice it either. So it changed to town name for a very long time, and then we did the like little competition on it.
I have a few of those. I actually cocked up once and sent somebody a submission where instead of the town name, it actually said insert town name. Like every time.
That's fine though. Yeah, that's the thing when you do that. When you do that search and replace, you're gonna have to remember what it is.
You have to remember. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
But no,
that was it. I changed it once and thought I'd done it for replace all, and I hadn't. So like 17 times it just said insert town name.
Yeah. That's literally that's the only really kind of funny story about it. But like, it's I think it's what were we saying? Oh yeah, I'm happy with it, and I think
Yeah.
when it went to when we were developing it, it went to 6 other beta readers, 3 of which I didn't know who they were, 3 of which I chose, and like all 6 like loved it, um,
Yeah.
which is great. So yeah, hopefully hopefully people are going to like it. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but basically, all you people at home, if you want a sneaky peek, all you have to do is get his newsletter.
Yeah, the prologue is in the newsletter. I'm going to be doing a live reading next week. Probably, I'm going to read the newsletter. Read the newsletter.
You're
Here's my
gonna read the
newsletter.
newsletter. Hello, I'm David Green.
How's
Here's
it
my
going?
dog. I remember that when I opened it because it said in the line a prologue from In Solitude Shadow. So all right, cool. I'll get my
Yeah,
morning cup of coffee and I'll have a read of this. And I clicked it open. It's a picture of you and your fucking dog. I
yeah,
was just like, that's not In Solitude Shadow.
yeah. It's nice. No, you've got to get the punters in some way. Dogs are better than
Oh,
me.
yeah. Well, I
No,
could
yeah,
get me shrimp in there on
yeah.
mine. Get my
That's it.
crustaceans out there.
Exactly. Get your pets in there somewhere. But no, yeah,
Yeah.
I'm going to read the
That are very
prologue.
unusual pets.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
here's
No, I'm
Thomas.
gonna.
He's a brine shrimp.
Yeah, I'm going to read the prologue on a live reading next week.
Yeah.
So Friday, I think, or maybe Sunday. I don't know yet, but I'm going to. But yeah, so that's
Let me
it. So
know because I was planning on doing a reading next weekend. So let me know which day you're doing, and I'll do the other one.
I'll do. Yeah, we'll do this anyway. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's the way to
See,
do
this
it.
is why it's getting tricky now. It's getting tricky to book because
Yeah, you don't want to step on each other. Yeah, that's it. But that's the way.
Well, yeah.
At least we care and we're actually asking.
Yeah. No, it's I'll go like back to the after thing. I'm really looking forward to your one in that because you said that it was partly influenced by Fallout,
Yeah,
which is one of my favorite video games.
yeah.
Awesome.
I thought you were going to ask me a question then. Awesome.
No. I'm just saying. I mean, that's awesome.
That was my.
It's just like that was a compliment.
Yeah, that was my waiting for a question face. It was like
I'm not doing you a bloody question. No, it's like
yeah.
so.
Yeah,
It's
Fallout,
something like Fallout. So are we talking Fallout 3 here? I guess, or 4, or
just Fallout in general. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Just
Did you
that
ever
kind of
play the
feel.
originals?
Yeah, yeah. I even played the shit spin-offs as well.
Yeah, I did as well. Yeah,
What was that even called? Brother? No, it was called. What was it?
It was something of
Brotherhood
Steel.
of
It
Steel,
was
was
the
it?
Brotherhood of Steel, but I
Yeah,
can't remember
yeah.
if it was. I think it was actually called Brotherhood of Steel
Yeah. It was shit anyway.
or
Well, I played it.
Rise of the Brotherhood. I don't know. It was
Yeah,
something, but it was
yeah.
bollocks.
It was rubbish. Yeah.
Yeah,
But yeah, New Vegas, 3 and 4.
I love New Vegas.
New Vegas is my favourite one actually.
I think
Yeah,
it's mine. But that was the original guys
he
who
was.
did
Yeah,
the first two,
did the first
and
2.
then they went on. I've not played it yet, but I've got it. I've got it. Like my partner bought it me. Like the bought the game. And the
Outer Worlds.
season pass was the Outer Worlds.
Yeah, it's really good.
I've been waiting for all the DLC to release because I like to mainline. If I'm going to play a game, I'm going to play it all.
Yeah.
Like, So yeah, and I've just not got round to it yet. But that's the same developer, is it? It's Obsidian.
Yeah. Obsidian. Yeah, there used to be Black Isle Games back in the day.
Black Isle, that's the buggers. I was trying to remember that Black Isle.
Yeah, so like New Vegas is my favorite of the Fallout ones, but like A Place Beyond the Storm is less inspired by that. It'd be more 3 or 4. Like it's a bit grimmer.
Yeah, well,
you know
from what I know of it, I would say it's more like 3.
Yeah.
I mean, especially like the the capital bit and the
Yeah. It'd be that kind of thing. Like yeah. It's like a mix between Fallout and The Road. Cormac McCarthy's The Road, but also Z for Zachariah, which is weird because I hate that book.
Oh yeah, you hate that. To be honest, mate, I'm not a fan.
Well, we had to
I
do
had
it
to
in,
do it at
do it in
school, and
school.
it bored
Yeah,
the
that's
arse
it.
off me.
Yeah,
It's just
that's
like,
it. Yeah, it's so weird that we all had to do that in school. Chris Hewitt did it
you
in
and
school
Chris
too.
Hewitt as well,
Yeah,
wasn't it?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Like it was just on the syllabus for some reason, and
Did
it's
you have to
like,
do Seamus bloody Heaney as well?
oh yeah, 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 yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
fucking, I hate that guy.
Yeah,
It's just
oh
like-
man, that one about digging potatoes with his pen.
oh man. The
I'll
worst
dig.
one was Scraggy Wee Shits about the drowning the cats in the bucket.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
I,
yeah,
I
yeah.
wanted to. I love cats, so I was like, I was all for getting on a fucking plane and finding the fucker and
He
teaching him
would
a
have been, yeah,
lesson.
he
You
was
know
still
what I
alive.
mean?
Yeah, he was still alive then. My local bookshop was when we were allowed to go into bookshops had a big picture of him because obviously he's kind of local.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
But yeah, no, yeah. So like, yeah, it's one of those things. I think everyone hates things you have to do in school because they're a
Yeah.
kid and like, you're forced
Although
to
to
do
be
it.
like, I like this will probably come as no massive shock to a lot of people listening. I was a bit of a pain in the arse at school. Surprise. And I threw a wobbler about something. And because I'd thrown a wobbler about this something, I had a really great English teacher. And she figured it out quite early that if I was into something, I would do something really, really good. Right.
Yeah.
And she threw her hands up one day and was just like, right, what the hell do you want to do? Here's the syllabus. You pick something. And I did
Yeah.
the turn of the screw.
All right. Yeah.
Henry
Okay.
James. And yeah, man, yeah, I got an A for that at GCSE.
There you go.
So,
There you go.
as my coursework
They
because
must have,
I refused. I think it was
Yeah.
for Zachariah. I refused to do it.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like, this is
They must
bollocks.
have,
I don't want to do it.
They must not have updated the syllabus for years, like because like I know we're more or less the same age, but like Chris Hewitt's
Yeah.
I think he's about 10 years older than us, I think, and
Yeah, I'm probably somewhere between. I'm probably somewhere in the middle, I think.
Yeah. He did the same. He did the same syllabus. They must have just been like,
Yeah.
these are the books, and we're doing it. We had to do the Canterbury Tales at one point, and it's like, not only did we have to do it, it's not even fucking finished. We're doing an unfinished book.
No, we did it. I'd have actually been quite happy with that because I'd as a young goth, I was reading a lot of like Dante and all that kind of Seven Deadly Sins sort of shit. I'd have been happy with that.
Yeah,
it was like I was in one group and I got moved for some reason, some infraction. I got moved groups, and I'd already done Merchant of fucking Venice, right? And I got moved to another group. And they were like, this month, this time, this term, right, we're going to do the Merchant of Venice. I was like, I'm not doing that fucking thing again.
Like,
and I was a bit of a pain in the arse, like I say, and I was like, for a start, it's anti-Semitic.
yeah.
And this was like an interim thing. I got moved again after this. And they were basically like outside. Like I spent every fucking English standing in the corridor.
Take your Lovecraft and get out of here, mate.
Yeah. Take your Lovecraft and fuck off.
I think I might read Canterbury Tales again now because like I think I appreciate it more now because like
I appreciate it for what it is. I mean, it's pretty much satire.
I love Hyperion. It's one of my favourite books by Dan Simmons, and that was based on the structure of Canterbury Tales. Mm-hmm. It's like a pilgrimage to Hyperion, and it's like these people telling the stories. So, like maybe but also as well, life's too short.
I think that a lot about things. It's like maybe I should go back and try it again, but it's just like life's too fucking short.
You told me something quite nerdy that you do about video games before.
Well, this is where I was going with talking about the video games because I was about to bring up the fact that I'm a very excited boy today because
me too.
Resident Evil Village.
Yeah. It's on my Xbox ready to go.
Yeah, same. Same. It's like as soon as we stop talking.
Well, I've got a little bit of work to do, unfortunately, but I'll get onto it.
I have as well, but I blew it off earlier. I was just like, you know what? today, fuck it. I'm going to drink some beers. I'm going to play Resident Evil like all night. It's just like, so do you remember last weekend we had a talk with a publisher on the Saturday?
Yeah.
And I was like, keep my eyes open with fucking matchsticks. And I was like, I just spent all night, and you nailed it. You were like, what were you doing? I was up till 5 a.m. finishing off Visage, which is a great horror game, by the way. Anybody?
Yeah.
Really good. It was like spiritual successor to PT. Like, oh, brilliant. Bang on. But it was like, I have to finish it because next weekend is Resident Evil weekend. Yeah.
You had to get it done. You had to
get it done.
And you had to get it done so you could write down the exact time when you start playing it.
Exactly, yes, because we discussed this earlier. I am a massive, massive nerd. We were talking about notebooks and how many notebooks I've got lying around. And I was saying, like, mine get confused. I have like 3 or 4 for writing ideas. And then I have one that's supposed to be for admin. And then I have one that's like just a random notebook. But they all get mixed up. So I'll be like reading story notes. And then halfway through, I'll see Visage, 8 o'clock till 12:30. And then I'll get 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. Basically, he thinks it's hilarious. If you've ever heard, if gamers out there have ever heard of the site How Long to Beat, I have to log how long it takes me to beat video games. Yes.
Well, you know, how long to beat could be something completely different as well.
It really could if we're going on the wrong sort of sites there. How long to
beat? Be very,
talking
very
about
careful.
milk race.
Yeah. So, like, how many notebooks have you filled with this?
With beating my meat.
Yeah. I was going to say with this the vital information.
Yes, finally. Oh, yeah. God. It's my first face palm of the evening. Yeah. So, but this is the thing, right? You said you did something even nerdier. I am waiting for this.
Yeah. So, like, you know, bear in mind that I was a child. I'm not.
Well, at some point, I think we all were, yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't. Yeah, we all were. But like, what I mean is, like,
who else out there has just got this image of this tiny little body with a huge ginger beard?
A big beard. I looked exactly like my son. So if you want to see if you want to know what I looked like when I was a child, just look at my son. That was exactly. Really? Yeah.
The scary thing is, man, I basically looked like this when I was like 14. Which I looked exactly.
I thought you were going to say I looked like your son as well. I'd be like, that's kind of weird, but that's fine. I'll let you off.
No, I looked like your missus.
Well, that's why I like talking to you so much. So what was it? Oh yeah. So but the point was that, like, I was a child when I was doing this, not an adult like you are with your little time scoring of games and stuff. But anyway, so as you know, I am still, but even more so back then, a Manchester United fanatic, right? And for a long time, I had aspirations to be a journalist. I actually did media studies in college. So this was from a very young age as well. Like, I wanted to be a sports journalist because I wanted to even be a footballer. I wanted to be a sports journalist, but I got an injury, so I had to stop playing football for a long time. I was actually playing for Everton, for Everton kids team. I got a big injury, so I had to stop. So I was into.
You're not a scouser.
No, but like, you know, they had a really good youth team and everything and all that. I wasn't like, I hadn't signed from there.
Sure, it was Everton youth team and not Accrington Stanley.
Accrington Stanley. Who are they? Exactly.
Accrington Stanley.
Who were they? Nobody who doesn't know British TV from the 80s isn't going to get that.
I know, yeah, exactly. This was before you could sign. Like, now clubs sign kids when they're 8 years old. Like, so this was way before that. You couldn't sign from until you're 16. So you'd have trials for different clubs, and they keep on keeping you sweet, basically. So I was playing for a few different ones, but I was actually playing for Everton at this time when I injured my knee. I snapped my cruciate ligament in my knee, and this was when I was about 15.
Nasty.
And it was because it was obviously I was unsigned and all that. I had to just go through the NHS, so it was like, you know, and in these days that was a career-threatening injury for professional footballers.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
So like for a kid, like, so it was like just missed too much development. But anyway, so like I was big into football. So years before that, anyway, I was like kind of thinking I was so into it. I'd go to watch United all the time, and then if I couldn't go to watch them, I'd listen to them on the radio. I'd watch them on TV. And every single match, right? So because I wanted to be like, because I was so into it, and I was like studying football, and then I was like, I was thinking, oh, maybe if it doesn't work out, I'll be a journalist. Bear in mind, I was about 11 at this point, right? So I think I was actually doing it. I was doing it as well as like a coping mechanism after my granddad died. I was like,
you weren't there with your fucking Sabutio set moving the.
No. It was like a coping mechanism after my granddad died. It was just something that I just started doing, I think. So it was probably like, looking back, it was probably like a massive, big like mental breakdown. So I don't know.
PTSD, mate. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what it was. So what I started doing was I was getting notebooks, and I would just chart every single Man United match. So the date, the times, what the weather was like, the who played, the subs, who scored, who made the assists. I'd give them match ratings, right? And, all this stuff, right, for every single game, right? And I must have filled about 25 notebooks. I did it for about 3 or 4 years, right? And I'd have them for like end of seasons and stuff, and like I'd give them like my own like kind of player of the year thing, because I'd go through each game and just add up all of the like ratings and do an average, and who had the best ratings.
One of my best mates from school, I'm going to have to introduce you, because you two, mate, seriously, my best mate from school, BJ Holden, was fucking just like that.
Yeah,
he could actually. He got to the point, right, because he'd studied these matches. He could give you commentary. He could tell you like the end, like the goal scoring commentary, and you'd watch the bloody footage, and he's right. It's just like, what the hell?
Does that mean that I'm not like, I was really like fanatic at those points, and like
something
it was
about Man United supporters.
I don't know. The thing is as well, like the thing is as well.
You never got that with Macclesfield Town. I'm telling you.
No. Well, obviously we lived there, like, and it was close. But also because it was Man United, we were on TV all the time. We're always in Europe, so we're always on TV. We're always on Sky. And if we weren't,
9 times out of 10, they had this idiot in the kitchen.
I'd stopped doing it by that point. I'd stopped doing it when I became like an older teenager. But I'd say I did it between every single match between 11 and maybe 14 or 15. It was 4 or 5 seasons, and I found them when I moved to Ireland. I had them all in a box, every single notebook that I did of it, and it was just like, didn't miss a match. Not one match was missed. Like, it was just everything. It was like,
I get obsessive with things like that as well. I mean, I think, like, by nature as a writer, I think, especially the way you write as well, because you visualize everything in your head.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just a natural thing.
Yeah.
I mean, we are obsessive kinds of people.
Yeah.
Because I think you have to be if you're gonna be a writer of some description. I mean, I could like Doctor Who is mine. Like, Doctor Who is my big thing, man. I could tell you people who worked cameras in 1967.
Oh yeah.
You know, it's like,
I'm like that with music. I'm really, really bad.
Yeah,
for it.
I am as well. I mean, I really annoy my partner, because I do have like an encyclopedic knowledge of basically goth and alternative electronic music from 1977 to the present day. It's just like, but I'm a DJ, so that's my excuse.
Yeah.
But the fact that I'm a DJ is a byproduct of the fact that I'm obsessive.
Yeah, because I look into like I look into like who produced it, like who wrote what song, who
Yeah, I'm
played
the same. Yeah.
Like I once won a pub quiz. It was a tie break question. It was who played lead guitar on David Bowie's Fame, and it was John Lennon.
John Lennon.
He wrote it as well, right?
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And it's just funny because he was like never like he was a functional guitarist, like he was.
Oh yeah, well you did. Like a lot of people don't realize that you did quite a bit of session work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's funny because he was basically, and he'd say he was functional, like he was the music, like as a writer he was brilliant, as a singer he was brilliant, but as a musician he was just a functional musician. He'd say himself he was Paul McCartney and George Harrison were better musicians than him. But like it was so funny that he just like pops up on all these things. He's like on a Bowie track and he's like playing lead guitar on a Bowie track. And,
you see that a lot with some people. It's like I can't be doing with like solo stuff at all, right? It's Steve Vai, the guitarist. I think it's far too much like masturbation. It's not music, it's masturbation. Basically, he goes on there and he masturbates his fretboard for about 18 minutes, right? It's all widdly, 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 widdly. But if you go back and you look at like Public Image Limited, like he played guitar with them and he played guitar with Adam and the Ants. They're all in. And he's just like,
Yeah, but I can tell you, I mean, I love loads of different types of music, but I obsess over it. So, like, I have my own playlist and stuff, but I have to make my own playlist because otherwise I'll obsess with listening to wanting to. And it happened this week. I fell into the rabbit hole of it. I've been listening to like quite a bit of Buddy Holly stuff recently, and I just got in. I had a Buddy Holly playlist and I was listening to it, and I just was one day I was just like doing something. I was just idly just looking up like trivia about one of the songs, and I knew this anyway, but it just kind of popped it back into my head. Like, the outlaw country singer Waylon Jennings.
Yes.
He was in.
I love I'm actually a big fan of Waylon Jennings.
Yeah, me too. This is what this is about, right? So I knew him anyway. I like him anyway. I have my own kind of Waylon Jennings playlist and everything. But I was reading this and I knew this fact anyway, but it just pops it into my head fresh. So he was in the Buddy Holly's backing group on his last tour.
Yes, he was. Yeah.
And he gave up a seat on the plane that Buddy Holly died in.
Yeah.
To the Big Bopper because the Big Bopper had flu. So he said he'd take the coach in this, and then the plane crashed and everything. So like I was reading this about him, and I was like, I might start listening to some Waylon Jennings stuff again. And then I just made the mistake.
Well, I know that because I watched a documentary about you. Are you like, if you're like Waylon Jennings, so you must be familiar with The Highwaymen.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is Jennings, Christopherson, Johnny Cash. Willie Nelson. But there's a documentary that went with that. A big show because I've got the deluxe DVD, and he was talking about that.
Every 5 years.
Like, fucking hell.
Yeah, so it's what got him into. He got into drugs in it because he was like really guilty about it because his last words to Buddy Holly were because the reason they got this plane was because they're doing this tour because Buddy Holly got stuffed over by his manager about royalties, so he needed to do this big tour in the middle of winter, and it was so badly done that they had to do this massive. They were doing 2 gigs a day. They had to do this massive big travelling, so they had to go across one part of Clear Lake to the other and to do this thing. And the bus that they had kept freezing, and like the original drummer on the tour got frostbite in his toes because it was so cold.
I remember reading about that.
So like one night, like Buddy Holly,
you talk about a tour that is doomed.
Yeah. So like one night, Buddy Holly just was like, "I'm gonna get a plane so we can have a decent night." And the main band were gonna go on it, which was Waylon Jennings and I can't remember who the other person was, but anyway, the other person flipped a coin with Richie Valens and lost. And Richie Valens got on the plane, and he was like, "Oh, it's the first thing I've ever won in my life," right? And then like Big Bopper had flu, and
so Jennings let him on. And, well, this is the thing he was saying in this documentary was just like, I felt like I led Big Bopper to his death.
Yeah. Because like the thing is, like he said to because then like when Buddy Holly found out, like he just jokes and said like, "Oh, I hope that old bus that you're on freezes," and Waylon Jennings was like, "Oh, I hope that old plane you're on crashes."
Yeah.
Right? And that was the last thing he ever said to him. So he was like like he got into like amphetamines and stuff for years and onto other drugs and everything after it. But
oh yeah, well, Jennings and Cash were fucking notorious, mate.
they lived together for a while. Yeah,
Jennings and Christopherson. Like they're all.
The funny thing is, Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings were living together in the late 60s.
Yeah, I know. That's what I mean. And they were just a nightmare, apparently.
They were both trying to hide the fact that they were both on pills from each other.
Yeah, so I know. It was like.
But yeah, so I was like,
it reminds me of like when you watch like things about factory records in the 80s.
Yeah.
You had like you had Peter Hook from New Order and Shawn Ryder living in the same flat.
Yeah, it's mad, isn't it? It's mad. There's I can't remember. I have to think of this. There's a famous couple of actors that used to dorm with each other in college as well. I have to think about that. It'll come out of my brain in a little minute. But yeah, so like
there was Michael Caine and
it's American ones. I can't. I'll think of it soon.
I'm just trying to remember it. Michael Caine lived with Leslie Phillips for a while. Could you imagine that?
That's great. That's
brilliant. Could you imagine? I mean, that could you imagine?
Yeah.
You're the postman. Hello.
You couldn't get two different people, could you, than Leslie Phillips and Michael Caine, I suppose.
No, I know, but they both. What did they both have in common? The love of the ladies.
Love of the ladies, yeah.
The love of the ladies. Apparently, seriously, they had like this shitty little townhouse in like the arse end of Ealing or something. And basically, it was like every night it was like a stream of young women in miniskirts and bobby socks.
Those were the days. But anyway, so like I was reading about this anyway, and I was like, I'll listen to Waylon Jennings today. This was like Tuesday, and I made the mistake of not going to a playlist, and I went on Spotify, looked him up, scrolled all the way down.
Start me on Spotify.
I scrolled all the way down.
Spotify screws musicians.
I know, yeah, but I scrolled.
Spotify.
Waylon Jennings is dead, so he doesn't mind. Like, he's dead. He died long. It's fine. And then I scrolled all the way down to the bottom to his first album and pressed play. And that was the big mistake, because then now it is Friday and I've listened to all 54 studio albums of Waylon Jennings, plus his duet albums with Willie Nelson, plus the 3 Highwaymen album in 3 days. That's what happens to me if I end up not listening.
Yeah, no, I mean, I do exactly the same thing. I did a thing the other day. I mean, with Swans, who were a no-wave industrial sort of band from the early 80s, and they carried on up to this day. I was sorting out on my laptop. Last time I had a drink, actually. So a few days ago, I was like, right, I'm going to sort out because basically my computer died a while ago. And I've got an external hard drive, and I'm copying everything over and putting everything in order. Because I'm quite anal. Everything has to be alphabetized and then chronological, right?
Yeah.
And so I was going through, and I made the mistake of listening to a recording of a cassette from 1976 of the Swans, right, playing in this toilet in New York, and I was just like, oh, that's awesome. That was it. So for the last 3 days, all I've had is this wall of noise. But I think we're very similar on that. So I irritate the crap out of my partner. I irritate the shite out of her.
Yeah. I'd be the same like that as well. But
because it's like we walk in a pub. She has this thing that I can tell a song in that whole thing. Can you tell this song name that tune in 3 bars? I can name it like that.
Yeah.
I'll walk in and I won't just tell her the name of it. I'll tell you who produced it, what label it was on.
Yeah. And some
Mike's lyrical for fucking hours. It's like, and it was produced by this guy who went on to work with 4AD, who also produced this, that, and the other.
During the recording of this album, someone
we're both Patrick Bateman, aren't we?
Yes. Yeah. I'm the same with films as well. I can literally walk past the TV, I just see a shot, I'm like, yeah, that's this film. And like
Yeah.
I just like if I'm watching something that I've not seen before or a TV show, I just as soon as I'm finished with it, I just find out like every little bit. I think that's
Yeah,
why
I do.
that's
Yeah.
why we're game. That's why we're into video games as well, because like video games, like not only writing, but video games like appeals to people that have like obsessive personalities, where it's like I
Yes.
need to find out every single thing. And like you like RPGs as well. I like
Yep.
RPGs because you go into the world and finding all these like little different stories that are going
Well,
on.
it's like
And
the horror games. I'm always. This is why I do like the How Long to Beat, because I always do the completionist run. I will
yes,
find all of the bits of
everything.
lore and all
Yeah,
of the, because I want to know
yeah.
everything, man. I want
Yeah,
to, you know.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. That's life.
Well, it's like you know what I don't understand as a gamer. You probably don't get this either. Is these little fucking numpties that speed run games?
Yeah, I
What's
never
the
got it.
point?
Never got it. Yeah, never got it. It's
What's the
like
point? It's
are
like,
people that try and break them. Like it's like they're trying
yeah,
to like, and it's like why? Why are you trying to do that? Like, what's the
yeah.
point?
But the thing that gets me is that like seriously, you guarantee tomorrow, if you look on How Long to Beat, there will be a time for Resident Evil Village, right? And it will be shortest time, and it'll be
Like
like 4.5 hours
yeah,
or something. But it's
yeah.
like you've had it for a day,
Mm.
you've played it once, and you ran through it as quickly as possible.
It's people that were doing like Oblivion in 90 minutes and like Fallout 3 in like 90 minutes. It's like,
Fallout
what?
3, yeah, Fallout 3 is actually quite doable in that amount of time, because there is a thing that if you just went straight from the vault to where his
Yeah,
dad is,
yeah,
you can just finish it. But what's the fucking
yeah.
point?
Exactly.
It's
What's the
like
point? Like that, because
200 hours worth
yeah,
of
because
real length.
the main stories are never the main draw for those kind
No,
of things.
no,
You
I
know,
swear, like Oblivion, I thought the main story was the weakest part of it.
yeah, yeah, definitely. It's funny because the
I
difference
liked the.
between
It's funny because I'm never a big fan of mage guild things, because mages just aren't my playstyle.
yeah,
I'm usually big sword, whack the crap out of things, so I'm fighters guild type stuff.
okay,
But
yeah,
you look at me, of course it is. Biff, you know. Um, but the Mages Guild on that, with like the King of the Worms and all that,
yeah,
the
yeah.
Necromancer stuff, that was for me. That was
Yeah,
brilliant.
the Thieves Guild was really good in that, and the Assassins Guild was great on that
Yes.
one.
Oh yeah, 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 yeah. The Assassin's Guild one was.
That's funny because like with Oblivion and Skyrim, I mean, the world of
Still not
Skyrim.
played Skyrim, because I like I spoke to you before about it. I need to put enough time
Yeah, yeah,
to do
yeah,
it,
yeah. But it's funny because
because
like
again, I can't skim it. I'm going to do
yeah,
every
yeah.
single bloody quest in it.
It's funny because like the world of Skyrim is better than Oblivion,
Mm.
and the main storyline is better, but then the guild quests aren't as good as Oblivion's.
Yeah, to be honest, of the two that I've played, which is Morrowind, no, I've played Daggerfall as well, actually.
Oh yeah,
But that was a long time ago, and it kept breaking.
yeah, yeah,
It just kept breaking, but I really enjoyed it. I don't know whether I ever finished it, because I think I got to a point where it just wouldn't work anymore.
couldn't do it anymore. That
Yeah,
was
it
what it
just
was
wouldn't
like.
work
Yeah,
anymore.
yeah.
That was the problem with it.
That was games back in the day, wasn't it? Sometimes something it'd stop working. You'd be like, oh,
Oh well. No, on Morrowind, I think
yeah,
of the two, of Morrowind and Oblivion, I think I prefer Morrowind. I
oh
mean, there's
yeah,
bits about Morrowind that really annoy the shite out
yeah,
of me, like in terms of mechanics, but in terms of story and world,
mm,
I think the problem for me with Oblivion was, I think the biggest mistake they made with Oblivion was the fact that they went with procedural generation to a certain degree,
yeah,
which I think ruined some of the. One of the big parts of Elder Scrolls is just wandering
yeah,
between town and town.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
And the problem was, with it being procedurally generated, it kind of was all a bit flat.
yeah, yeah,
Whereas
yeah,
Morrowind, you had all
yeah,
these lovely crafted fucking gullies, and
yeah, yeah, yeah,
you
yeah.
guarantee you went into a gully in Morrowind, you'd be killed by mud crabs in about 30
Yes, definitely,
seconds.
yeah, yeah, definitely. They kind of they kind of get a good balance of it in Skyrim. Like it's still procedurally generated, but it's like
Yeah.
they've hidden it a lot better.
Mm.
than did in Oblivion.
The other problem with Oblivion was them bloody gates. After a point, it was just like, oh, not another one. I've done them all. Like, because I think there was 10, wasn't there? There was 10.
And Oblivion gates,
There was 10 actual maps.
Yeah.
But you had to shut about 25 of them.
Yeah.
And at the point, it gets to the point, I've done this one. I've done this one.
And you can get random ones as well. And maybe the second to last mission is just like there's like tons of them. You just run through. That's how.
No, that's what I mean. It's like because you get to a certain point in the main quest, and then there's hundreds of them open on the map.
Yeah,
it's like, I have to shot about 15 of these fucking things.
Yeah, that's like I don't know if you ever played Legend of Zelda: Wind Waker, which is I think it's one of the best ones. I love the art style of it, but it did that same thing where it's like it gets to this last you're looking for shards of the Triforce, and then you get to one bit where it's like this last shard.
I sent you that video earlier. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
The Triforce. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah. But it's like you get to this last bit, and it's like you need one last bit. You need one last bit of this Triforce. It's like this Triforce has been split into about 50 different parts, and some of them are underwater, some of them are under there. It's like, oh no, and it's like just to make the end game that a little bit longer than it needs.
Did you ever play the Alone in the Dark reboot?
Yes, yeah, that did something similar as well. Yeah, that was really
fucking
janky,
routes.
Yeah.
You went through all that shit in Central Park and all the rest of it. You're probably like 15 hours in, and then it goes, right, you're going to have to go right back to the beginning and start burning tree roots.
Yeah.
Why didn't you tell me that at the beginning?
Yeah, good times, isn't it? That was a funny game. They were really pleased about that burning things mechanic that they had, wasn't it? It's like, you can burn things. Every single thing you have to burn.
Yeah, and it was the fact that they like because they had the mechanic where you had to go down and arse about with things in your belt, which it seems like a cool idea, and it was cool the first 15 times I did it.
Yeah.
After that, it just pissed me off. It was just like, can I just not throw like a burning, like an improvised bomb made of a bloody aerosol and a can of petrol or something? just
listen, lads, I'm sick of burning stuff. All right, just can we have another way? It did get
incredibly tedious. God, it got so boring. It was just like,
can we not think of a different way to solve these issues and what we have to get across?
Well, the thing is, I thought I'd figured it when you could combine bullets with petrol and have burning bullets, which was ridiculous in itself.
Yeah.
But
cool though.
It was cool, but it would have just exploded in your face.
Yeah, it would have exploded. We were missing.
I thought, right, we're cool, right? I could just go around and blast these bastard things without worrying about it. Only lasts for 4 bullets, so you had to find some more petrol and combine it with the bullets.
Yeah.
Did you ever play the abomination they put out after that, Illumination?
No.
God,
I didn't play that.
Just don't. It's got like a Metacritic of something like 7%. It's like it's like one of the worst games I've ever played. It was like they took the mechanics of the Alone in the Dark reboot and tried to make a first-person tactical online shooter out of it.
What? Was it just people?
So basically, you take some shite like Call of Duty, right, and you slap it with that ridiculous fire mechanic, and then put it online.
Was it just people just walking around looking in the lap trying to like figure out their inventory to combine stuff and just shambling around walking into each other?
Oh, the other thing on that was the fact that when you picked up a melee weapon, right, you couldn't just press a button and whack somebody. You had to use the stick. Do you remember?
Yeah. Really
I just ended up waving it about like that.
What were you thinking? You know what? I remember it coming out. I remember like following it when it was coming out. I like the old Alone in the Dark games and all that.
I love them. I mean, this is why it really annoys me, because the first Alone in the Dark is one of my favourite games. I played it on DOS. I had like the floppies, man. Yeah. Me
too. Yeah. But I remember seeing it. It was like it's by the developers of Test Drive Unlimited, and they're using the same engine. And I was like, that's weird, because Test Drive Unlimited is a driving game. Right.
The do you remember the driving sequences in Alone in the Dark?
And it was really bad. The driving
It
sequences
was
were
really
awful.
bad. You didn't control.
Yeah. And like
But they put in the if you remember, they put in that episode thing.
Yeah, they did,
so you could skip it. It's just like, how many people skipped that driving bit?
It was, I refused to skip it, but like it was. It was
I did
bad.
until the point I nearly threw my Xbox through the window.
Because I was literally driving through New York and like just cracks would randomly just appear in front of the car.
Yeah, that was it.
The car wouldn't steer.
But the car had jelly suspension, so as soon as you veered to avoid a crack, it sort of did like some kind of kangaroo shit. And then you end up just crashing into the wall.
You did.
And you started right back at the beginning.
Yeah, you had to just basically learn the because it was all like pre kind of like it wasn't, you know, it was sequenced. So you just had to learn when it was going to happen and just be on the other side of that.
Well, I did, but even the same, even like there was a bit, right? I could get round that corner with the building, you know, the bit where your car always ended up going into the phone box. No matter what you did, it went into the phone box. And you go around the corner and you got these cracks coming up, and then you got a bit where you got to steer it through like the back of a truck and out of the front end, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what I did every time, but I didn't get it lined up on them on the ramp thing. Yeah. And the car would always end up doing one of these numbers. I was just like, well, why?
It was a bizarre game, wasn't it? It was back in the day where it was kind of like, we can do all these new things with games, and it's like, that's great, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't do these things, right? Just don't do them. It's like we can do an open world horror survival game and have like car chases in it and stuff. It's like, don't do it. Don't do that.
No, to be honest, if they'd have done that without the stupid mechanics, that would have been cool. Without any of the stupid mechanics and without the stupid driving bit. If they'd just gone from, because I loved the beginning of it.
Yeah, the beginning.
You know, when you're going through the burning hotel and that was awesome. That was really cool.
Yeah, that was
good.
But
then you got outside and it all went to shit.
Yeah.
I mean, some of the bits in Central Park were cool, like the open world aspect. That was fun. But
the best
then
version,
you had to get a car and you had to do jumps over.
Yeah, you had to do all kinds of shit. Like. The best version of that kind of thing, of that kind of semi-open world horror game, was Alan Wake, because they were like...
I loved Alan Wake.
Yeah, because they were like... Because that was very similar in structure.
Deadly Premonition.
Deadly Premonition, yeah. Everyone loves that. So bad it's great.
That was great. Yeah. It's one of the worst things ever made, but I love it.
Great, yeah. Everyone loves Deadly Premonition.
It's a great game. I mean, it's Twin Peaks, isn't it? Let's face it.
Twin Peaks. I can't believe they didn't get sued for it, to be honest with you.
No. The fact that there's a woman walking around and it's not a log. She's got a cook pot. It's not a log, but it's the same dialogue.
And Zach is the character. Zach is like obsessed with coffee as well.
Yeah.
And,
it's them bits where you're driving between missions and they're talking about films. Reminds me of me and you. Maybe that's it. Maybe I'm Zach.
Maybe you're Zach. Yeah. But yeah, Alan Wake was really good because it kind of just.
I loved Alan Wake.
It was very. It was just like, we're not going to do all this crap with like driving and all this kind of stuff. It's semi-open world, but like it's defined. You know what I mean? And it's no, it was good. It was really, really good.
I thought, to be honest, I thought Silent Hill Downpour was quite good on the open world.
Yeah,
that kind of disappeared because there was a lot of problems with frame rates and all that kind of stuff.
There was. The thing is, there's a bit of snobbery about it.
Have you played that through backwards compatibility?
Yeah, I liked it. I liked it at the time. Like, yeah, I could live with the frame rate of it. There was a bit of snobbery.
Yeah, I played it at the time. It didn't. Frame rates and things like that don't really bother me.
Yeah. There was a bit of snobbery about that one as well because it was the first Silent Hill game that was not made by a Japanese developer. So like a lot.
No. The first one not made by a Japanese developer was Homecoming.
Oh yeah, Homecoming. Yeah.
The snobbery with Downpour was it was the first one that soundtrack wasn't done by.
Yes, that was it. That was it. And like, so you had all these kind of like hardcore Silent Hill fans that were just never gonna. I
thought that was like a return to form because Homecoming, I enjoyed Homecoming, but it
Yeah.
Origins. Pfft. But
Yeah.
I really liked Downpour, especially the bit with the bit where you've got to reenact, like, do the sound effects for the
Yeah. That
theatre
was
thing.
good. Yeah, that was good. Yeah, that was
That is
good.
one of the freakiest things I've
Yeah.
ever played, mate. That
Yeah,
was awesome.
I like the whole aspect of the rain thing as well. That was good. That
Yeah,
was like
I did.
it was really atmospheric as well. I like Eastern European games developers because they put a lot of atmosphere into the games. Like it's just
Yeah, I agree. I agree.
whatever
That's
it
why I'm a
is that
big fan of Bloober Team,
yeah,
who do
the
like,
medium.
Observer's one of my favorite games.
Yeah,
Layers of
yeah,
Fear, I love. The Blair
yeah.
Witch game they did was
Really
fucking good.
good. The medium's good as well. The new one they brought out
Yeah,
recently.
I haven't
Um,
played that yet. No, because that's again, I've got that. I've just
yeah.
not played it yet. Yeah.
It's really funny. I was playing it right, and the first bit is set in like this kind of housing block, and it's quite like a unique kind of look. And I thought, oh, that's quite
Mm.
striking. And then I was watching the Falcon and Winter Soldier, which is like filmed in Prague, and they were
Yeah.
in the exact same building as the and so it was actually they
Well,
just
they all check. No, they're Polish, aren't they? Bloober Team.
yeah they're I think they're in Prague as well. Like and so they just used this building as a real building and
No,
put
they
it in the
are.
game.
They are Czech. They're yes. They do
Yeah.
have.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But it was the exact
because
same building.
it's
It was the
the
exact same
same
building.
building. They
Yeah.
used an observer.
Oh, was it?
It's
Yeah.
the same housing thing they
Right,
used.
right.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, this thing, it was like a housing block, and you go down, and it's into this courtyard, and after courtyard is this like kind of tunnel with gates at the end, and there's this like weird kind of like mural above it, and I was like, wow, that's really cool. And then like it was there's a big scene in the Falcon and Winter Soldier in the exact same place, so I was like, oh, it's an actual real place. They just used it, right?
Nice.
But
Yeah,
it's still
I
weird.
haven't seen Falcon and Winter Soldier yet. I'm looking forward to that because they're two of
Yeah.
my favorite Marvel Universe characters.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
And
I'm a big fan of Falcon. I'm a big fan of any character who's basically a bit of a pillock. You know,
yeah, yeah,
just like
yeah.
I'm not I'm never a massive fan of like your uber hero type, your Captain America. I like you basically it's a fuckwit with a jetpack. I like that.
Yeah. No, it's good.
And Winter Soldier, let's face it, is just
Winter
cool.
Soldier. Yeah, Winter Soldier is cool. It's cool, but it's funny. Like in this TV show, I think in the first episode, he says he has more lines than he did in any of the films
Yeah.
that have been combined. Like, because it as like in the last, I think he just says two lines in Endgame. I think.
Yeah, but let's face it, Endgame was just a clusterfuck.
Did you
It
not
was
like
just
it?
like, no, I did, but it made my nose bleed. There was like because there was so much stuff happening, and he had so many characters.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I mean that was the problem I had with both Infinity War and Endgame. It was just I enjoyed them. I enjoyed them, but I don't think that for me they weren't the best ones because nobody had any time to do anything.
Yeah, I actually think Endgame was better. 'Cause I think
I think Endgame was better. Infinity War was.
Infinity War had that problem because it was like.
But it was a setup
basically
film, wasn't it? Let's face it.
Yeah,
It was
kind of, and basically it was like three scenes split into it to go across the movie. So it was like following like those three groups of people, and a lot of people obviously put by the wayside of it, and I think in Endgame they just dealt with it a lot better because obviously they had the time jump, and then it was a smaller cast that they can deal with. And
I preferred that, but it was still like I say, it was still. It was like the bits where you got like Jaconda and all that, and you got the big battle and all the rest of it. And you had people dying left, right, and centre, and you had people that this, that, and the other. I honestly lost track. I was just like, is she dead now? Is he dead now? He's there, but where's she? So she's dead. Let me get this right. Right. So she died when that went down. But who's that there now? Who the fuck is that? Do you know what I mean? It just confused. Like I'm, with films, especially if I had a drink or something.
You're getting
I'm
old
quite
now, so
like
it's fine.
this massive jump cut fucking cut. It just confuses the crap out of me. This is why I didn't like the Mortal Kombat movie, the new one.
Right.
It was just like
What's with it?
it
There
was
was
just like cut. It was just like well. I just want to see somebody get kicked.
You
in
want to
the
see
face.
it? Just pull the camera back and let us see something happening.
Yeah.
There's a really funny clip of something because like the Bourne films brought in this fast cut, and they were quite restrained in it. Like this, it was still fast cut, but it was still like second, whatever. And obviously, like other films took it on, and it became that kind of crutch for films where you're casting actors that aren't.
I don't like
actors.
it at all. It just hurts. It makes my nose bleed. I just don't like it.
It's become this thing where it can hide people that can't do action.
It's the new version of Bullet Time, isn't it?
Yeah. It's used a lot in this middle-aged man goes on a rampage film like Taken, because.
Yeah.
Like they're older fellas, and they just do these fast cuts so they can get away with the action. But I think the zenith of it was in Taken.
Yeah, they
3.
did it in Hobo with a Shotgun, didn't they? Which was an awesome film.
Yeah. Well,
Ron Howard on a rampage. What's not to like?
Yeah. The zenith of the jump cut is I think you can see it on YouTube as well. There's a bit where Liam Neeson runs to jump over a fence in Taken 3. And there's about 30 different shots of him doing it, and it's just like of him jumping over this fence. It is just incredible.
So I imagine it's what they used to do when they did long shots with Roger Moore towards the end of his Bond career.
Yeah,
they had to do lots of different shots to make sure his hair looked real.
Yeah. Use his stunt double to do something, just film it from far away. That's what happened with Superman 2, because they filmed Superman 1 and 2 at the same time, then fired Richard Donner before he finished Superman 2. Gene Hackman refused to come back, so they just got some guy with a wig on. It's like just filming from far away.
The best example for that, like for all you old cinephiles of horror here, was Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Oh yeah,
the old Ed Wood movie. Bela Lugosi.
Yeah.
Bela Lugosi died halfway through filming it. So they had some guy who was 2 foot taller than Bela Lugosi walking around with a cape. Like that.
Yeah. That's good.
I love that film.
One shot it's daylight, the next shot it's nighttime, and
yeah.
No,
you had Bella coming out and with his face and looking all Bella-esque, and then you had
Ed Wood is a great film. It's Tim Burton's best film, actually.
To be honest, Tim Burton films, after a certain point, for me, this is probably going to get hate, but they've just gone into masturbation.
Oh, he's not made a good film for about 10 years.
Basically it's him, Johnny Depp, and Helena Bonham Carter all whacking each other off. It's just fucking bullshit. What was that Alice in Wonderland?
Yeah, it's terrible.
That was crap.
I mean, the best film that he's made since in the last probably maybe even more than a decade is Miss Peregrine's School for Whatever.
I haven't seen that. I haven't seen that.
And that's a 6 out of 10 film. But
this is the thing. Like, before anybody gets some real hate on me, I love Bonham Carter, and I'm a fan of Johnny Depp as well, and I'm a fan of Burton. But I just think when you get the three of them together after a certain point,
like Tim Burton's 80s and 90s and early 2000s stuff was great. Like, he only had one real misstep, which was Planet of the Apes. And then he followed that up with Big Fish.
I'd forgotten about that.
And he followed that up with Big Fish, which was a brilliant film.
Yeah, Big Fish was good.
Well, Ed Wood I think is my favourite, because it's just it's a great,
superb.
It's a great biopic.
The fact that it's a biopic as well.
Yeah. It's a great biopic, but it's such a great fun film as well. It's captures the whole. Johnny Depp is brilliant in it as well.
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Do you ever play the point and click game of Plan 9 from Outer Space? Did you ever come across it? No, it's brilliant. It's really, really good. It's really good. It's a point and click game, and there's a bit
I'll have to find an emulator now.
Yeah, find it. It's really funny as well. It's really funny because there's a bit like the bits where they have the pilots in the plane every so often.
Yes,
and, like,
yeah.
There's a bit where there's that, and like in between the two pilots, there's that weird kind of device on the wall that never gets mentioned. You can hover over it and click on it, and it comes to examine it, and it comes up and it says, "We have no idea what this is. It's just from the film."
I'm looking that up.
Yeah,
Did you ever play the Elvira games?
No, Elvira was. I'm a little bit younger than you, so like.
Right, yeah.
Elvira was a bit too sexy for me to watch in those days,
Right, yeah.
Right, so I couldn't. So my mum and dad would still.
Elvira.
I was also me and my brother used to share a room as well, so like I couldn't really play anything like that.
I'll put an end to your nocturnal pursuits.
Yeah. I didn't get my own room until I was about 15. So yeah. So maybe 14. Yeah. So no, Elvira was.
I was about to make a really smutty comment. But you pebble dashed the ceiling, didn't you?
Yeah. I think how old? Actually, I think I was 13 when I got my own room. But I was old enough. Like we working class northern, 2 up, 2 down house, like So no, yeah. So I couldn't really I couldn't play. I wouldn't be able. I knew of Elvira, and I knew of the Elvira video game as well as the Leisure Suit Larry video games. But I would not have been able to have played them with my brother hanging around because he would have told my mum and dad about it. So. Yeah,
they were great.
I caught up with some Leisure Suit Larry stuff later on, Elvira.
Leisure Suit Larry,
Elvira kind of passed me by. I keep meaning to watch it because it's on Amazon Prime, the original one.
It's great.
Not the original, but the 80s Elvira, because she was based.
Elvira is Cassandra Peterson.
Yeah.
You should.
Yeah, because she's based
like me and Callum, right? Me and Callum, some of our favourite stuff is
right. Because she
so camp, but you're a fan of Carry On movies, you'll love it.
Yeah. I should watch it one day. Because she based herself on the one from that was hanging around with
Vampira from.
Because she was gonna sue her, wasn't she, or something at one point?
Yes, she was.
Ripped me off,
Yeah.
Well, I know of all the things around it and everything, but it kind of passed me by really. Maybe it's on Amazon Prime, so I might.
You should check it out. I didn't realise it was on Amazon Prime. I'm going to watch it.
I'll watch it.
Watch it again.
I'll watch it one Tuesday afternoon with Ollie. Let's sit down and watch this.
Yeah.
Daddy wants to watch a film. Sick of watching Thomas the Tank. We'll watch this instead.
Right. On that note, we're going to wrap this up. Thomas the Tank.
Oh, the indignity.
There we go.
Yeah.
Yep. There we go.
He's got me. He wants me to start talking like Diesel now for some reason, who is like a Cockney white boy.
Oh, Diesel's like the Jason Statham of. He wants
but the thing is, he wants them all to get on because Diesel and Thomas have like kind of an adversarial relationship.
He's the antagonist, isn't he, Diesel?
A lot of the time, yeah. So I have to be like, oh, Thomas.
How do I even remember this shit?
I don't know. I have to be like this. I have to say like, oh, Thomas, where Steamies and Diesels don't get along, but you're my favourite of the Steamies on Sodor. And he's like, thank you, Diesel, and all this sort of stuff. So he wants them to be, to get along.
He wants them to be buds. Yeah.
Yeah. Who knows what 3 year olds think? Yeah.
I think you're raising a hippie there, mate.
Why
can't we all get along?
Yeah. I was asking him something the other day. I was like saying, I was like, can I talk to you about something? And he's like, I want to talk to Diesel. It's like, not going to talk to you as Diesel. I want to talk to you as Daddy. And he's like, I want Diesel. And I was like, Fine.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Well, mate, probably have to
I know.
end this at some point. Callum's probably going, come on, lads, wrap it up.
He's probably falling asleep. He's just like, what is this? Just edit all that stuff out in the middle and we're saying all that horrendous stuff that no one can hear.
Oh, no, that's fine. I basically like how it works with the editing is I'll watch it through again and I'll note down from here to here, cut that bit, from here to here, cut that bit from here. Basically, anytime I'm being offensive, which happens. Come on, let's face it.
Well, I'd just like to say for the record, I was not offensive whatsoever. The things we're cutting out was my dog needed to go to the toilet, and so did Tim as well.
Yes, I did. Yeah.
That's basically it.
Yeah. There may have been offensive bits after that before we started again, but
maybe, but no one.
I think that was more me though. I think I was ranting again. I think I was off on one of my fucking things. Oh.
You know, I'm too much of a gentleman to say yes, but
yeah. Like in a Macclesfield coming to the surface.
Well, thanks for having me on as
it's a pleasure, sir.
Short notice
it's a pleasure
to replace the person that you really wanted to talk to.
It's a fucking pleasure, mate. And basically, yeah, the reason I'm happy, mate, don't lie. You just wanted an excuse to sit and drink beer for a couple of hours.
That's true.
Yeah, exactly. This is our social life, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, that's right.
This is what lockdown has brought us to.
It's lockdown is life now. It's just, you know.
Oh man, it is just life. It's just,
yeah.
I actually walked past a pub the other day, and there was people sitting outside, like socially distanced and all the rest of it. And I just looked at it, and I was like, because there was beginning of 2020, right before all this happened. Walked past the pub at that time of the day. I had money in my pocket, and I gone, whoa, pint.
Yeah. Well, we're not quite at that stage yet. Our pubs are still closed. Our pubs haven't been open.
Yeah, well, I mean, I like some of them have opened, some of them can't.
Yeah,
it's really strange. It's like half. It's like everything in this country right now. It's half-assed. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, apart from 2 weeks in December, our pubs have been closed since October.
Yeah, well, ours opened in like October for a bit, and then closed again December, and I've just like. To be honest, the pub that was open down the road, I'm not entirely sure it was supposed to be open. but I know some others have opened tonight. I don't know what the deal is, to be honest.
Just open if you want. If you want to open.
Fuck knows.
Yeah, who knows?
Anyway, sir.
Yes.
Anyway, sir.
No
so
worries.
thank you for coming on. And for all you kiddies at home, if you want to get hold of his novelette that's coming out very shortly, that is getbook.app/ No, that's In Solitude's Shadow. I'm an idiot. So that's his book there that's being promoted behind him. So getbook.app/ In Solitude's Shadow. That's getbook.app/ In Solitude's Shadow. There is a books to read link, but I couldn't find it earlier. That's why I made that one. I'll put them both underneath. It'd be cool. His novelette that he was talking about, the old apocalyptic jobby, that is bookstoread.com/ beyond the storm. I'm writing it's all squiggly there. Just as booktoread.com / before the storm. My guest is Mr. David Green, and that's how you get hold of him. That's davidgreenwriter.com.
That is
how this time, didn't I? That's davidgreenwriter.com.
That is how people get hold of me. The old one, yeah. That is how people get hold of me. That's how my parents get hold of me as well. They go onto my website and send me a letter. You know, they just come round my house. uninvited.
Right. And yep. I'm Tim Mendes. So that's timmendeswriter.wordpress.com. I'm basically trying not to say I've been Tim Mendes because I say that every time.
You have
And
been Tim Mendes, though.
I have been Tim Mendes.
And you will again. Yeah, you will again be Tim Mendes.
Yeah.
Don't
Octopus
worry about
Wrangler. At timmendeswriter.wordpress.com. Thank you all for watching. I hope we've been vaguely entertaining.
No.
David, thanks, pal.
No worries.
Callum, have fun editing that one. Good night.
Bye-bye.
Callum, you're gonna have to cut this bit. Oh, get a grip.
Oh.
You know.
Yeah. Innuendo. I like it.
Composure.
Oh.
Shut up. It's all right. Callum can cut this bit.
Moose handler in Moose's shadow. I'm just taking the piss here. But anyway, let's move on from that.
Oh, brilliant. Carry on, Cthulhu. Here we come.
Yeah.
Callum's going to love this bit anyway. So,
Hi, Callum.
Hi, Callum. It's been an hour. We've just been talking bollocks. We've not even started yet.
Yep.
Oh, that made me laugh. That was so funny.
Come on. Dog's on the move. What are you up to? Come in here. Come on. Let's go. Come on. You come in.
What's the dog's name again?
It's called Milo.
Milo. I thought.
There he is.
Hey, that was really bizarre. Just the head just materialised through your backdrop. That was really strange.
Hello, Nathan. You all right? He's been asleep. Oh, thank you. This is Tim.
Hey up, little fella.
You say hello? He's been sleeping, haven't you? Hey, cheeky doggy.
I always do that. Like I'm expecting it to wave back.
He can wait. Oh, it's yawning at you.
Hey.
Oh. So, yeah, you all right? You coming up for a cuddle? You want to go out?